Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan Kennedy.
I have a rant for the demise of the Portland Phoenix up in Maine. I was in Portland last weekend, and I was looking for a copy of the Phoenix. It has still existed years after the demise of the other Phoenix papers, and I couldn't find one. Then this week, the Bangor Daily News reported that they have suspended publication. And there is some talk that they're trying to find a way to come back. But once these things are gone, they don't come back. We've said this is the end of the Phoenix 3 or 4 times since 2013. But this seems like it really is the end of the Phoenix.
That's too bad.
You never know. The New York Sun rose from the ashes.
Yes.
That's right.
Still publishing online.
All right, Jennifer.
I have a rave for Bernie Sanders for his willingness to go on Fox News and let them produce a town hall debate regarding his candidacy. There's been a lot of controversy where the chair of the Democratic National Committee has said that Fox News is not going to be allowed to moderate Democratic debates, and I think Bernie Sanders understands well that if you're going to win an election, you need to reach across the aisle and bring in some voters who might not share your perspective.
Have they asked the other candidates to take part in this?
I think they're asking everybody slowly but surely.
CNN's been doing that, obviously.
Yeah, and so, but the Democratic National Committee has discouraged it, and there was a flurry of articles in Media Matters and other blogs and publications condemning Bernie Sanders for agreeing to do this as if he's lunching with the enemy, essentially.
Who's going to be the moderator? Is it somebody?
Exactly. I think, was it Martha McCallum? I'm not sure.
Somebody fairly neutral.
Yeah, from the
because it's not. If it's Laura Ingraham or Sean.
No, it's McCallum and Bear or someone like that. Yeah.
That was the issue for the Democratic National. Not that I'm talking for them, but that was their issue.
Yes.
They didn't want any of the primetime hosts.
Well, they didn't want Fox News. Period.
Well. But there is respect for Brent and Shep and Martha McCallum.
They could show that by letting them host a debate.
Well, because you don't get to pick. But anyway,
Callie.
All right. So I have a rave for the LA Times, and it's just hire of Shani Hilton, and Shani came from BuzzFeed. It's fair to say that she was the right arm of BuzzFeed. She helped reshape it with Ben Smith. She is one of the motivating factors and reasons that when BuzzFeed took a big stand a few years ago about diversity, and I mean they went all the way through their staff. As you know, they've suffered some losses recently. Jill Abramson, in her new book, talked about what she thought it was going to be the BuzzFeeds of the world leading the way into new journalism. It turns out the legacy papers are doing so. And the LA Times has definitely come from the ashes. I thought it was dead. They are back with the money from this billionaire Patrick Soon-Shion. And the masthead looks like America. There's plenty of folks on there who are Asian, who are Latino. They are in California, after all. Shani will be black person high up on the masthead.
What's her title?
Deputy Managing Editor News. She'll be there with Sewell Chan, who used to be at the New York Times, who was instrumental in recruiting her. So I say bravo.
All right, Dan.
Well, I have a rant for the Ethics in Journalism Act in the state of Georgia. 6 lawmakers there have decided that they want to focus on upping the ethics game for journalists in the state. And so they're proposing this bill that would require a news organization to hand over all of their reporting materials to someone who they interviewed, an interviewee, if they request it. And so here's how it reads. It's Bill 734. It says, any individual who is interviewed by a member of the media shall have the right, upon request, to a copy of a full, unedited version of any audio or video recording of such interview, as well as any photographs taken in connection with such interview. You have to hand it over. This is raw footage and so forth if they request. For every day that you don't hand it over, there's a $100 fine, and you could also be sued as well. Now, whether this will go anywhere, I don't know. Probably not. But it certainly is a little troubling when they're sort of, flirting with the First Amendment here. And a lot of people troubled by this.
Well, they're not flirting with the First Amendment.
Well, they're stomping on it.
It's a complete violation
They're
of the
stomping
First
on
Amendment.
it. Sorry, I was trying to be,
I'm not that concerned about it. This will be stopped the minute somebody challenges it.
I also want to point out that there are many organizations that are fully putting their stuff online.
Right.
They're saying, hey, here it is. There's the whole roster. Look, listen to it.
Yeah, but it's something, you don't necessarily want to.
No, I agree with you. That's what, but they're acting as though people are trying to, right.
All right, I have a rave tonight, but it's a little bit complicated because I don't know if anybody saw that wonderful story on the front page of the Globe today about the guy who bought a house in Needham that belonged to the fencing coach at Harvard. Bought it for $1 million. It was $400,000 more than it was worth. Yeah. So the Globe was trying to see whether there was a quid pro quo about this fellow's getting his son into Harvard. Of course, the kid did get into Harvard, did get on the fencing team. But what the Globe did at the end of this article, I've never seen in my life. Joshua Miller was the reporter on the story, and right at the very end, which was I thought was fascinated by the story, he disclosed how they got the story. He says it was great. Yes. He says that some couple was looking to buy this house in Needham, looked at the track record of the sale and says, "Wait a second, the house is on the market for $700,000. It just sold for $1 million. What's the deal here?" And then they looked up who bought it, who owned it, what the connection were, and they thought, "Oh, I bet there was a quid pro quo with Harvard." Then the story broke about the actual quid pro quo with all these colleges and universities. And they said, "Hey, we may be onto something." Called the Globe, gave them the story, and they reported it. Was that great?
Everyone's a journalist.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. A weird combination of the back door and the side door, too.
Of course, and the fact that the guy went on record, the guy who did all the, who bought the house, got his son, went on the record, flew into Boston, claims it was totally innicent, but at least that's another, he went on the record.
And it's kind of a shame because he's a smear on his kid who was brilliant.
I know. He didn't know about it.
He could have done the whole thing himself.